When people ask me what my favorite book by Kobold Press is, I never have to think very long because the answer is almost always going to be Tales of the Old Magreve. Now, I don't necessarily know if I like this book for its art, its storytelling, its content, its classes, its writing, its layout or whatever, or I just like it because of the memories that I have of it, of putting parties inside the Old Magreve and completely screwing with them. But as I've also stated on my channel that the book is kinda in some ways showing its age, and as of hearing my prayers, Kobold Press decides to make a new one. Hi there fellow roleplayers and game masters. Today I want to talk about Tales of the Old Magreve by Kobold Press because it is my absolute favorite book by Kobold Press. Most people who will ask me what my favorite book by Kobold Press is will get this as the answer. Some people might get a slightly different answer because I just know their preferences and I just know they might not like Tales of the Old Magreve. But this is the book, the adventure book, the adventure module or whatever you want to call it, that I had the most fun with when it comes down to Kobold Press modules. This is one of the classic ones. It's incredibly cool, but it is showing its age a little bit, and I will talk about what I mean by that in a bit. And Kobold Press is doing a revised, remastered edition or something like that. It is now open to pre-order, and I just wanted to point this out to you because in this video I want to quickly talk about what Tales of the Old Magreve is, really quickly. I want to talk about why I think it's showing its age, and then I want to take a look at the website and see what Kobold Press is promising to do differently. Now, if you want a in-depth look about what Tales of the Old Magreve is, you should check one of my old and awkward videos about that. I don't know how many years it was ago, but they are older videos that where I go deeper into Tales of the Old Magreve and why I like it as much as I like it. Now, in general, Tales of the Old Magreve is a book with 12 adventures for heroes from level 1 to 10. It's 12 adventures set in an old Magreve, an old magical forest, and that's its main thing. It's 12 adventures, but I don't like this book per se for its adventures. The adventures in here are absolutely brilliant. I played most of these more than once for my parties. There's 3 parties that I sent through the Old Magreve in total, and I had fun with all of them, and the adventures was great. But the main selling point for this book is that the forest itself is a almost living and breathing organism. It is a forest, a magical forest with a mind of its own. So the adventurers go into the forest and immediately the forest has an opinion about those adventurers, particularly individually, right? So if there is an orc, the forest might not like that orc, but if there is an elf, the forest might like that elf. So there is this point system of your, I don't know, your affinity or whatever with the Old Magreve, and the more the forest likes you, the more it's going to help you out here and there. And the less the forest likes you, the more it's going to be in your way. Now, you as a character, your character can do all kinds of things to make the forest like you more or dislike you more. So there is this point system where you go 1 point up in its affinity, or 1 point down, or 5 points up or 5 points down. And all of the stuff that happens when you are traveling the forest from adventure to adventure or whatever, they are all like super vague things, like for example, there's a race class list. Like, you start off with it's a status. You start off with like +1. If you're a gnome or a goblin, you start off with -1. This is where you get like +1 and -4 and -4 and +1 to some stuff. The Old Magreve, but what the Old Magreve does is it has friendly Magreve effects, and it has hostile Magreve effects, and using Game Master can roll a d12 or whatever to see what the forest does, or you can come up with your own stuff. Like, for example, you're traveling from A to B, and one of the party members just keeps, I don't know, for some weird reason, they cannot keep up with the party, and they have that one of those days where they keep tripping over roots by trees, and they could swear that the tree root there in the ground wasn't there for their party members, but it was there for them, right? Or they are fighting a monster, and suddenly somebody walks through the bushes, and the tree branch, like everybody knows when you go on a hike, at some point in time, you're going to get slapped by a freaking bush, right? That happens more to one character or happens less to another character. Also, maybe you are running away from, I don't know, a displacer beast. Yes, sure, there's displacer beasts in here. You're running away from one of those displacer beasts, and then suddenly you want to jump into a tree, right? For some characters, I don't know, a character who's like super respectful towards the Old Magreve, they jump up and suddenly they need to only roll like a 10 in order to lift themselves up from a tree branch and be in that tree, because it's just, for some reason, it is the perfect height for them. But then the other person comes running along and they jump and they completely miss it because they have to roll a 15 or an 18 or some more, or they have minus to the roll or whatever. And the cool thing about this is that you as a game master can drop hints of what is happening game after game after game. You do not need to tell your players when they go inside that forest. You do not need to tell them like, hey, this forest has a mind of its own, all that. No, you make that happen while the game is going. Every now and then you sprinkle some of this random stuff in there, and then there is this one, I don't know, very high magic wizard type who starts to feel kind of like a magical presence from the Old Magreve, and that, all of that combined with the adventures that are in here, with like, there's an adventure in here that has Baba Yaga, there's an adventure in here with a ginormous magical flower that turns into a moth, which is really crazy. All of that combined makes Tales of the Old Magreve actually, like, if I had to make a top 3 or top 5 of must-buys ever, this one would be in there. And that brings me right here to the Old Magreve pre-order page for the hardcover. Now, it's really important that it's only 50 USD, and it says pre-order customers of the Old Magreve hardcover will receive a coupon for a discounted copy of the Old Magreve PDF on launch day. So you get a discounted copy of PDF. I don't know how much the discount is. It might say a little bit down here. Now, the first thing that I see right here is that it's now titled the Old Magreve because it needs another title. Otherwise, it would be like Tales of the Old Magreve version 2 or new edition or Midgard edition or whatever, but it says the Old Magreve, and this one says Tales of the Old Magreve. But it should be a new hardcover, and it should be a revised version of the first book. For years beyond counting, the roots of the Old Magreve have grown deep and strong. Explore an ancient magical forest rife with dangers both mundane and fantastic, deep in shadows of its dark canopy. This deep woodland quickly claims unwary travelers who fail to follow the old ways. And that's basically it. So there's this entire section in this book where you as a game master get like guidelines of how players or player characters should act in the old forest, and if they go against those old ways, that is when the forest starts to take a dislike to them, basically. Brace yourselves for a journey through the Old Magreve, a legendary forest with a mind for adventure. This setting guide and adventure path revitalizes the Magreve forest with new adventures, new art, and new maps, and fully compatible with Tales of the Valiant or 5e D&D, basically. So, I don't know, is this like the same book but done differently and better, or is this just like, are the old I don't know, are the old adventures still going to be in here? Because what I see right here is, I think this is probably Baba Yaga, and these are her 3 horsemen, right? That's Baba Yaga and the 3 horsemen right there. So Baba Yaga and the 3 horsemen play a big part in this one, but are these adventures going to be like completely and totally new? Maybe it's like it happens after, it's like so many years into the future after this one, so there's new adventures that kind of are probably completely standalone and all that stuff, but also vaguely follow whatever happens in this book. That's how I'm interpreting it. I could be completely totally wrong. If there's somebody from Kobold Press watching, please tell us. 4 lineages, including a new and powerful bear folk. So lineages basically are a race type thing for Tales of the Valiant, where Tales of the Valiant, you don't pick a race, you pick a heritage and a lineage. So there's a bear folk lineage in here, which isn't in here. That's completely new. 5 new heritages, including the Delver, Forest Bastion, and Old Ways. This is all new stuff. 16 subclasses, including the new Wildlife Bard, Verdant Druid, and more. Over 60 spells and magic items. I don't even think there's spells and magic items in here. This book only has freaking Oh, yeah, costers, the Magreve spells. There are some spells in this one, but definitely not like 60 or whatever. There's some spells in here. But only like, I don't know, it's like one page. Yeah, it's one page, page 48. Let me just figure this out really quickly. So there are a few, yeah, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spells in here in this book, and there are 60 new, so 10 times as much new spells and magic items, and a complete story arc and adventure path guiding players from level 1 all the way up to level 10, which is the same as it says here, but I don't know if it's the same adventures, right? Your tale within this ancient woods begins here, but be aware, those who pass through its borders are forever changed, and sometimes the Old Magreve will not let you go easily. So, I am extremely and super excited about this. I'm not gonna lie, this is really something. Like a lot of those books by Kobold Press, I see an announcement, I completely ignore it until it's out, then start reading it and review it, because there's just so much coming out. I almost never report on books that are just like announced or in pre-order stage or whatever, because there's just too much to talk about if I do that. This is an exception for me. This is really, really, really special, and I really want a copy of this one as soon as I can get a copy of this one, because it will be released April 16, 2025, by the way. I cannot wait for April 16, 2025, which is a good period in time, because that's like 2 weeks after the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct Nintendo's going to do. So April is going to be good. Until next video, bye-bye. Oh, by the way, link in the description below, subscribe, like, comment, you know, everything.